guys. Welcome to Get Crackin' on Christmas. I think that I'm live in all three places. For those of you guys that don't know, I am trying to stream on my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and my Facebook group. But I am not seeing a chat from any of you guys. So that's a problem. Let's see. Oh, okay. I'm seeing some chats. Okay, yay. All right. I am seeing some chats now. I see Jackie Bates says undefined, but I don't know if she actually said that or if something is going on here. Let's see. Bear with me for just a minute. All right. So it looks like, and I will have to look into this some more, obviously, as we go forward. We're always learning, right? I'm able to see names of people who are commenting on YouTube, and then not the names of people who are commenting on Facebook. But I also can see the chat through my Facebook group. So we're going to make it work tonight. Again, this is something that has been on my to-do list for a while now. And I just wanted to try it out. So you can't figure it out until you try, right? What is that saying? Start messy, right? So we're going to go with it. Again, I can see the names over on YouTube, but if you're commenting on Facebook, I can't see your name, but I can see your comments. And we're just going to get started because normally I just do Get Crackin' on Christmas on my YouTube channel, but I know there's a lot of people that follow me on Facebook, and I wanted to make sure. I was trying to figure out a way to do both. So, you guys, it is November 19th. Have you started your holiday cards yet? Are you thinking about them? Are you done them? No pressure. No pressure. If you are joining me tonight, I really hope that you will possibly work on some of your own cards. They don't have to be holiday cards if you don't want them to be, but use this time to not only hang out with me and see what I'm creating, but also to create and make something yourself. Yay! Hi, guys. I see Sharna, but I think it's because she typed her name for me, so thank you. All right, so I am going to flip the camera, and we are just going to get started. So this card is totally a winter fun greeting. So this does not have to be a holiday card. I'm getting to the point where I have done Get Crackin' on Christmas all year, and then also have shared so many other holiday cards throughout the year that I have a good collection. And I felt like I could go with maybe a little bit more of a winter card, but this could totally work for a Christmas card as well. I just thought these moose from Newton's Nook were adorable. I grew up in New Hampshire, and so a moose is kind of a very iconic symbol. And again, I just thought they were so cute. Snowboarding moose, like, how could it not be this cute? So this is the set right here. It's called Moose Mountain. Okay. And I created a slider card. And the snow on this card is the Distress Grit Paste Snowfall. This was part of the limited edition holiday texture set. I do know that it's still available at Simon Says Stamp, and I'm sure that there are some independent retailers where it's still available as well. If you don't have this, you could also play with the Distress Grit Paste. The difference, a few little differences between the two is the Snowfall is a little bit more translucent. The regular grit paste is a bit more opaque. And then the Snowfall has a little bit of shimmer sparkle to it. I'll see if oh yeah, there we go. Can kind of see it picking up on the edge of the cardstock there. All of the supplies are listed over on my website. So if you head over there to shirkus.com, you'll be able to find the post with this card, and everything is linked and ready to go. But I'm also proud of myself for using a Newton's Nook stamp that is not kitties. So can we all just take a moment and be proud of my non-kitty cat card from Newton's Nook? Yay. All right, so we are going to get started. So I think I started to say, so this is a slider card, and you can see it's not working the best. And lesson learned, and I'm going to fix it tonight with you guys. But I shouldn't have put as much snow around the slider area, because that is what is catching with this as I'm trying to get it to slide. All right, so lesson learned, keep your slider area nice and smooth. But we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get going. Let's go ahead and get our moose stamped and colored. Yay! Thank you, Sharna. If you keep typing your name, I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I promise, well, I can't promise, but I will try my best for the next Get Crackin' or the next live that I have a better idea of how to see who is commenting. I am happy that I don't have to have a million windows open. I just have this one main chat screen open, so that's super nice. So I'm just going to stamp out these guys. Usually I have this all done. I'm not quite sure why I didn't. But I'm going to stamp them out on some Neenah 80-pound cardstock. And then we are going to color with Copics. And if you guys are following along on my blog, I have started in the past month or so, when I do Copic coloring on whatever card it is that I'm working on, I have been sharing with you guys, hopefully, a helpful, useful Copic used guide. So I kind of just swatch out the colors that I used on that particular card. So hopefully you guys are finding that helpful, a good resource. Those are great images that you could pin to your Pinterest boards to be able to refer to them later. Hello, Christine. And I saw Danielle is working on some masks for her purple onion stamps. She got hooked on those after the last Creative Journey art retreat. And I apologize if I'm a little sniffly tonight. Some of you guys know Chris has been pretty sick with a sinus infection. And even though I've been staying clear of him, we live together, obviously. And the germs have creeped into my world. So I was trying to see if I could. So I am trying to not get a cold, essentially, is what's happening here. All right. Yay. Thank you. Yeah, I love to do non-traditional colors. And so when I was coming up with this color scheme, I wanted it to be a bit softer. I know that the coloring is pretty vivid and vibrant, but I wanted it to be a bit softer. So I thought the teals and the pinks together were really, really pretty. Thank you so much, Sharon. I appreciate that. I've been blogging for a long, long time, and there are times that it's not as up to date, but I try really hard to keep it relevant. Oops, that's not the right one. I am going to start coloring the moose. I'm going to use the Copic markers E33, E37. Those of you guys that know, I start by adding my shadow in first. So my dark Copic marker, I'm going to put down first before I do any other coloring. And I am just doing a little bit because a little bit goes a long way when you are adding your darks. You don't need a whole lot. And honestly, these aren't really the biggest areas either. So I want to keep that in mind as well. Now, on my card, I'm kind of looking up at it. On my card, we have the guy waving on the right and the guy swooping down the hill on the left. And when I stamped it, I did it opposite. So now I've shadowed it a little bit differently than I did originally, but it's all good. It's all good. Hopefully you guys all had a good week. It's Friday night. I know some might be working tomorrow, but some of us might have some weekend time. It's going to feel weird for me. It's the first weekend since Labor Day weekend that I don't have anything going on. And honestly, all those weekends were classes except for when we went to Florida for my friend Stacy's birthday. So it's just so crazy to think, even though I'm not traveling and teaching, I still had a whirlwind of a fall. So now I'm going in with the E33, and I did the shadow on both of the moose, but I'm going to now focus on one moose at a time so that when I'm saturating the cardstock with my Copic markers, the alcohol's not going to evaporate and I'll be able to blend it a lot easier. So when I start with the E33, I'm only focusing on blending out the edges of where I put that shadow down. So hopefully you guys can see that. I'm not coloring anywhere else on my moose just yet. Thank you so much, Karen. Sharna, I hope your headache is going away. Ooh, price tags for a craft fair. Good luck with that. I hope it is a super, super success. And so once I get the shadow blended out, I'm going to finish coloring in the moose, but just one layer of this E33. I'm not going to go over and over because I don't want it to get darker and darker. Okay? And I am coloring inside his little ski goggles, but I have something I'm going to do in a bit to kind of lighten that area up so it'll really look like it's going to be behind ski goggles. And then I'm just flicking my light marker in between the light and the dark to blend the two colors together even better. Yay, glass of wine. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I do have to say, if you're watching on YouTube or even if you're watching on Facebook, I've been doing the YouTube lives for almost the whole year now for Get Crackin' on Christmas. So as you guys are working on your holiday projects, if you're working in your crafty space, if you just want to throw on a video and watch my previous lives, they're all on my YouTube channel. So if you just search Jen Shirkus, if that's not where you're watching from, and I shamelessly am plugging it because I'm getting so close to having the watch hours that gets me to the next level for the settings and things that YouTube allows you to do. So I try so hard. I tried really hard last year to start filming and putting up videos, but And I'm still going to try to do that, but I'm so busy teaching my online classes. It's really, really hard for me to also keep up with filming and editing videos. So I'm hoping with these lives, it is helping me get those watch hours in. But if you are ever looking for some crafty videos, check out what I have on there and again, help me get those watch hours. Okay, so now that I have the mousse colored, we are going to start to color the pinks. And what I used mainly was the R35 and the RV13. And if you guys have been taking any of my classes this fall, you know this has kind of been my holiday color combo. And again, I kind of like those non-traditional colors on holiday cards. So this is kind of a fun way to do a pinky red. Thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Speaking of traditional holiday cards, tomorrow on my blog, Colorado Craft Company is having a new release, and I will be sharing a card that I created. And don't fall over and faint, but it's traditional Christmas colors. It's like red and green traditional. Yeah, Sharna, it's just like the voiceovers, the editing, the filming, I gotta try again. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around it when I am in the throes of teaching so many classes, but this time of year where things quiet down a smidge for me, it's a little bit more doable for me to kind of wrap my brain around maybe doing some videos. And I know once I do them enough, I think the process will speed up a little bit. But anyways, all right, so I just added some R35 on the shadows, and then I'm coming in, blending out with the RV13. I always blend out first, trying to leave some white so that I'll be able to have a true light. True light to me is just one layer of that light marker that you're using. Because with one marker, if you keep building up the layers, you essentially could get a shadow because it's going to get darker and darker. I am really excited in 2022. I'm going to have a really, I think, awesome online Copic coloring class. I think it will help people of all levels. And I've been working really hard on it, and I'm really, really excited to share all of that with you guys. Oh yeah, R35 is such a pretty red. Did you mean, Danielle, the R35 and the RV13 or just R35 in general? So cute, these mousse. I just think they're adorable. And I think Newton's Nook had a new release this week, which they have two sets, which are stinking cute. One is a dog, one is a cat, and they're making snow angels. I just was like, seriously? Jennifer comes up with the cutest ideas. She's one of the owners of Newton's Nook. Oh no! Sienna, I hope you're okay. Sharon, I hope you can take a class soon. My next online class is Penguin Party, and it is December 4th, and it's online. So if you can't make it December 4th, you can watch it anytime after the live. You'll still have access to the videos, the Facebook group, the handout, the coloring guides. You can still ask me questions. And I believe Scrappy Chic in Michigan was making kits to sell to people for the class. So if you don't want to buy all the stamps and dies, that's a nice way to try out a class with me. And I believe they had 2 kits left as of earlier today. So, and then the Paper Crafters Workshop, which is in Canada, they are making kits as well. I don't know how many kits they have left. Oh, I forgot his cuffs on his sleeves. Yeah, the combo. I love it. Love it, love it. All right. So I saw some of you guys are working on some crafty stuff. Let me know in the comments what you're working on. It's okay if you are just sitting there and watching. No shame there. Even though I was encouraging you guys to craft with me, I totally get that it's a Friday night and maybe it was a rough week and you just want to unwind. That's okay too. Right? Awesome. All right, so then his little V's on his jacket, I did. And if you're new to my lives, the angle I have to color at to be on camera is a little awkward. So I always go out of the lines, which I just did really bad over here. But that's the beauty of the white gel pen. We'll take care of that later. So Jill's asking, what's the best black inks for images when you want to color them in? So if you're talking about coloring them in with alcohol-based markers, Jill, my favorite, and the only black ink I use is the Lawn Fawn Jet Black. It's alcohol marker friendly, so Copic friendly, but it also will work with watercoloring as well if you wanted to add any water to it. And of course, it'll work with colored pencils. So this is my go-to for almost everything that I stamp that I'm going to color in. There's a lot of options out there. I just know that after years ago where the only option was Memento, I personally was not ever a fan of the quality of stamping. I just didn't feel like it stamped a really good, crisp black line. I felt like it kind of had a little bit of a purple tint to it. So when Lawn Fawn came out with their jet black years and years and years ago, I was so excited. And I got rid of all of my Memento ink pads, which I had a lot from my classes. And that never looked back. I just used the jet black. Let's see. Cheryl just finished gluing her last advent calendar pieces down. Yay. Awesome. Erna, I hope you feel better and have a speedy recovery from your surgery. All right, so now we're going to do, I'm just going to stick with the pinks. So we're going to do the surfboard. Can you guys tell I'm a mermaid? We're going to do the snowboard next. So for the snowboard, I used RV13, RV21. So this was the light marker that we just used with the red, but now it's going to be our dark color. Okay. So I'm just going to start by laying down the shadow. This is obviously a much larger area to work in, so you can be a little heavy-handed with your shadow, wherever that's going to be. Remember, I don't really worry about light sources or the season or the time of day for the sun. I just kind of pick a side and go with it. My thought process here is his cheek is shadowed because it's touching the snowboard and the snowboard is shadowed by his body. And then I did a little shadow around his hand. But usually it's pick one side and stick with it. And so pick the side and then do crevices is kind of my rule of thumb on where to shadow. Yay! Danielle says that get cracking, really got her to make a lot of holiday cards. So now she can kind of slow down and she's just making them for the fun of it with no time stress. I love hearing that. I like doing Get Crackin' on Christmas because I too find I personally don't like to make a batch of the same cards. And I know a lot of people do for the holidays, and that's totally okay. I just get bored. So with Get Crackin' on Christmas, every month I can use different supplies and different techniques and experiment and play and it justifies all my holiday stamp purchases because I actually use them. And so, yeah, so that's why I like to. Arlene is prepping some cards for her neighbor and her to put together. That's so sweet. Thanks, Jackie. I thought this set was really cute too. Remember, I like snow on cards. As long as the snow stays on paper and not in real life, I'm a happy girl. I know it's inevitable here in Massachusetts, but I just don't like winter. But I love snowflakes. I love the way they look. I love snowmen. But again, just not real life ones. All right, so these snowboards are almost done. Cute. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I should have colored his antlers. Let's go back to browns. And for his antlers, I used E51 and E53. Okay. And you really could just use one color. Sometimes when I'm just really enjoying coloring, I overcomplicate parts of the image that don't really need to be, but it's because I'm enjoying the process. So I have the E53. I'm kind of just putting at the base of his antlers coming out from his hat. And then I'm going to go in with the E51 and blend it out. That sounds fun, Christine. She says she's playing with her new club products from Catherine Pooler. Oh, yeah, Thanksgiving cards, Joyce. You do have to get those done. I don't usually do a ton of Thanksgiving cards per se. I did share on my blog this week like a grateful card to send to some friends to tell them this time of year like how thankful I am for them. But I don't tend to send ones out that say specific to Happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to blame all my friends that have November birthdays on that one because there's a lot of them. And I always get so behind. I'm always belated in sending birthday cards in November. It's just the way it goes. All right. Oh, and so now what I want to do with his goggles, the ones that are down on his face, I'm going to take this E51 marker and I'm just coloring it over the E33 so that it will lighten the color up a little bit. Excuse me. So they'll look a little bit more goggle-ish. We're going to add some glossy accents to them at the end, and that will really help as well. All right, you guys, I'm going to take out my beloved teals. I know you're all surprised. BG11, BG13, BG32. That's right. Collecting supplies is a whole different hobby. I totally agree. Thank you so much. The ones that said that you loved the Grateful card this week and your birthday's in November. Happy birthday. Again, I apologize, you guys. Some of the Facebook names, I'm not able to see who's posting. So if you want to put your first name first and then type a comment, that's great, but I do know that's obnoxious, so I don't expect you to. I'll hopefully figure out the commenting part for the next time that I am streaming to all the places. Sharna says, at this point, you're getting a birthday Christmas card, right? Right? All right, so I am adding some shadow to his snowboard pants, both of them with the BG13. Basically, I wanted his pants to be darker than his coat, just so that it'll look a little different, have some good definition. So for his pants, I used the BG13, BG32 combo. And for his coat, I used the BG32, BG11 combo. Just making sure I get all the spots. This one where he's kind of squatting on the board kind of tricked me when I originally made this card. Yes, if you're saying the Holy Grail are these 3 teal Copics, I totally agree with you. Totally agree. I haven't seen if Maureen is on. She always watches my Get Crackin' on Christmas, and she always makes her own version of the card with the supplies that she has. And very rarely does she even have the stamp set that I use. But she's so creative and clever, she comes up with something. But I don't know if I've seen, she would be watching on YouTube, I think. I haven't seen her name pop up. All right, so I'm going to move along a little bit because we also are making a slider card tonight, you guys. I guess I was inspired. I don't know, the way he was like squatting on the snowboard, I was like, oh, this has to be a interactive card. Remember, after you blend out your color, don't forget, you can always go back in with your dark and add a little bit more back in, especially when your cardstock is still wet from the blending, because then it'll probably just soak in and continue to blend because your paper is wet. So just keep that in mind. So now I'm working on his coat. I just used the BG32 to do the shadow, which I actually didn't do a ton of shadow because I really wanted it to stay light and airy, which I sometimes have a really hard time keeping images light in color because I do tend to have a heavy hand and I just tend to be, I gravitate towards bolder colors. So there's that confession of the evening. And now I am going to go in and blend this out with the BG11. Goes fairly quickly because it's a light color. It's pretty forgiving too. And then just fill in the rest with one layer of that BG11 so it stays nice and light. Did his whole collar, just one layer of the BG11. Slider cards come together really easily, I think. I remember back when I was teaching for Lawn Fawn at all the trade shows and stuff, and they started to come out with interactive dies, I was like, oh no. Because I don't make interactive cards. But Lawn Fawn's dies over the years have made it so simple for anybody to be able to make interactive cards. And I'm so appreciative of that because otherwise I wouldn't be making them. But now I was like afraid of teaching slider cards, and now listen to me. I'm like, oh, slider cards are easy, you guys. I feel like after I got through the double slider surprise teaching run, I can teach anything. And if you know, you know, if you are part of that time in history. All right. So now for his goggles, I'm going to take this BG13 and just do the frame. I just realized I forgot a stripe on the snowboard, but I'm all over the place tonight, you guys. All over the place. You can tell I'm concentrating. The line around his goggles is really thin. And then for the goggles that are up on his head, I am just going to take BG10 and just draw the lines. Keep it simple. And then real quick, his stripe on his snowboard, I used RV00. Ooh, I can't wait to see, Sharna. It's nice to go back and do something that, you know, you maybe haven't done in a while. All right, and then we just have his boots. So for his boots, again, if you've been taking my classes, you know I'm kind of on a tonal gray kick. So I'm using T4 and T6, but really any two grays that you have in a 6 and a 4 will work. I just realized I forgot his pockets. Just a little pocket color with the BG13. So the reason why I've been really liking these tonal grays, first of all, I love, love, love my warm grays. Those are the grays that I use the most. But the reason why I like these tonal grays is they're a bit of a cooler gray, but I find that they're much, much easier to blend than the C's, than the actual cool grays, which I've always just had a really tricky time blending them personally. So I think that's why I use my warm grays so much, and why I'm so excited about my tonal grays now. We're going to use these tonal grays in the Penguin Party class in December. But again, you can use any dark, dark grays to make your black penguins. All right. Cute, cute snow boots. All right. Somebody just said, now I need to buy the tees. Sorry. All right, so we're going to die cut these moose out. And again, remember this Copic chart is on my website. I took a picture of the card with the Copic chart. So that's a great thing to save that image, or again, pin it on a Pinterest board. However you keep track of your ideas. And so I'm going to die cut these guys with my little Altenew Blossom die cut machine. I love this thing, and literally use it for, I would say, 80% of my die cutting. If it's an image, it's pretty much die cut on this little machine. I only use my Spellbinders Platinum machine to die cut like stitched rectangles and backgrounds and stuff like that. So definitely love this little guy. It's just so nice and efficient to have something right on your desk, ready to go. If I miss any of your questions, you guys, feel free to just ask them again. I feel like I'm not on top of comments as good as I usually am, and it might be just the 5,000 windows that I have open in front of me trying to see all the comments. Oh, I cracked myself up. I was talking with my friend Libby, who teaches and works for Hero Arts, and I think it was just yesterday. Maybe it was Wednesday, but she uses the same software that I use to be able to stream my two cameras, so you guys can see my face and see my hands. And I was like, have you figured out how to stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time? And she's like, no, but it's on my to-do list. And I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to figure it out by Friday. And so I started reading some more about it and kind of figured it out, but it didn't really even do it until like, I don't know, what time did I pop it randomly in my groups with the test? I want to say it was like 4:30 or 5 today. Just how I roll. Figure, start messy, I'll get it figured out, and it'll be slick before you know it, right? So Get Crackin' on Christmas is always the third Thursday of the month, which is making me feel like it might be near actual Christmas in December. Does somebody want to look at a calendar and tell me what the date of the third Thursday of December is? And we can kind of chat out maybe what we'll do next month. All right, so we got those guys done. Next, we're going to work on our background. So I'm going to use a piece of Distress White Heavy Stock. This is my Holy Grail paper. It's been out for about a year now. I'm pretty sure it came out November of last year. And I've been using it on everything since. What I love about it is it's Distress White Heavy Stock. So it's through the Distress line with Tim Holtz. But what I love about it is it's 130 pound. It's really nice and thick. And it's nice and white, like very bright white. And it can take wet mediums. So any of those ink smushing backgrounds I like to do, it'll take to it. And because it's such a nice, bright white cardstock, the colors are so vibrant on it. And I also love to ink blend on it, which I'm going to do tonight. It's really a nice, smooth cardstock to ink blend on. All right. Is it the 23rd, the 17th, or the 16th? Just the third Thursday in December. I'm using the Wendy Vecchi Station. This is that magnetic board. Holds your stencils in place. You don't have to worry about using like a spray or taping it down or anything like that. Thank you, Paula. The third Thursday of December is December 16th. Oh, good. So it's like the week before Christmas, kind of like Thanksgiving. So I'm going to tell you right now, my live will be Friday, December 17th. So you guys can mark your calendars now. We will do, I think doing Friday night lives are a little bit more popular than Thursday night because Thursday night's tough because it could be like a school night and a work night and all that jazz. So we will do December 17th. All right. So I am using one of Simon Says Stamp's new positively saturated ink pads in a seafoam color. It's just a really pretty, soft, tealish blue. And I did a whole Instagram live. So if you follow me on Instagram, you can still see the live where I shared the really fun birthday kit that Simon Says Stamp came out with in September for Stamptember. And all the elements in that kit are still available, even though you can't purchase it all as a kit. You can still get the stamp sets and the stencils and the die and the inks. Now, if you, again, have been in classes with me, one of the top questions I get is, I'm just starting out. What ink pads should I get? And my answer has always been, if this isn't your job, where, I design stuff and teach for Lawn Fawn, it's my job. But if you're just a hobby crafter, I highly recommend getting a rainbow of ink pads in whatever colors you like. Most ink pads are the same, okay? Most ink pads are water-based dye ink pads with a felt pad. So Simon Says Stamp has ones like these. Hero Arts, this is obviously Lawn Fawn. And so my thought is like, if you like teal, Lawn Fawn has some really great teal ink pads. So get Lawn Fawn's teal ink pads. Simon Says Stamp has a really beautiful warmish pinkish red called Hot Mama. If you love that, get that. And just filling your rainbow with all the different companies. Don't necessarily get a full set from a company. This is all just my opinion that I give people, especially when they're starting out, because it's very overwhelming. There's so many supplies out there. What I'm saying, just so you know too, has nothing to do with distress inks. I truly feel everybody should have like all the distress inks and distress oxides, but that's like a whole nother live another day. So I personally don't necessarily always jump on the bandwagon when new ink pads are coming out, because again, they're all very similar, and I truly love the Lawn Fawn color palette. It matches the pattern papers that I use. I like the bright colors. Again, like I mentioned, there's a lot of teal, and I'm very happy with that, and the few Hero Arts and Simon Says Stamp ones I've had. Fast forward to Simon Says Stamp, including one of these ink pads in a kit that they had me design for them. Now, this ink pad is different because it is a foam ink pad, okay? Not a felt ink pad. And there has been other foam ink pads out there over the years. Vivid, I don't know if you guys remember, Vivid used to have like a curved ink pad. They had foam, but they were just so juicy. Like, it was like messy. It was very messy to use them, and I just didn't like that. But what I really love about these positively saturated inks from Simon is they're very juicy, but not messy. And the formula of ink, when you go to blend on cardstock, is just beautiful. It's so beautiful. I blended a card with their inks for a card to share with you guys for their December event that they do in December. And when you see this card, you guys, and I'll do a blend in a minute, but when you see the blend, it's just so smooth and so pretty. So I fell down the rabbit hole, and I'm all in with these ink pads now. I'm still going to love my Lawn Fawn ones. I do, love the color palette of those. I'm still going to use them a lot. But for some techniques, these positively saturated ones are just amazing. You guys all just got really quiet. I don't know if you're just listening or if you're like, oh boy, she's Janabling us again, and I don't want to listen. So this is the Petite Snow stencil from Newton's Nook. I love it because it is like little snow. And so I am just filling in about 3/4 of my background with that. I've got my ink pad in my ink stand, because you got to have your ink stands, right, to hold your ink pads. So this is what we got so far. And I just used a blender brush because I wanted a really soft application of the ink. If I wanted it to be more vibrant, then I would have used like a blending tool. Let me actually grab a couple ink pads. I want to show you how beautifully they blend together. Hold on one second. So this is one of their, they're coming out in trios. So right away, it takes away the guesswork on what colors you need to buy to blend together. They've kind of done all that work for you. And they also come already labeled, which is really, really nice because I never, ever get around to labeling my ink pads. I just labeled my Lawn Fawn ones within the past year. All right, so let me just do a quick blend for you guys to give you a sense of just how nicely these work. Yeah, this is a great Christmas wish, Sharna, for sure. And I told you that whole beginning story about ink pads because I didn't want you guys to feel like I was telling you I love these, but I do this all the time. I, again, have not fallen for any new ink pads in a wicked, wicked long time. So I am blending on Distress White Heavy Stock with my blender brush. And look right away how nice and smooth that looks. Okay. And then if we go into, so that was with bubble gum. This is sweets. And I'm just going to do this quickly and then we'll go back to the card. And I'm working right on my desktop because it is made of glass. So if you can, doing ink blending on glass is a really, really great way to get a really nice blend. So that's why like Tim's glass mat is really nice to have. And whenever you're doing a blend, go light, dark, and then go back to that light. So pretty. How pretty, right? And then we'll just do one more color, Taffy. And for some reason, I was using my purple blender brush for Taffy. It's pretty, pretty dark. And I just didn't want to use my pink tool for it. So a little sneak peek of the color combo I did for that card that I'm going to be sharing in December. And then we'll go right back to sweets. I can tell that these inks are definitely saturated because I can already tell that my brushes are getting really inky. And that's not a bad thing. I just know I will probably have to clean my brushes maybe a little bit sooner than I normally do, just to kind of refresh them and get some of that ink out. But look how pretty this blend is. So pretty. Anyways, so positively saturated inks. They also do have some water reactive properties for watercoloring. I haven't even gone down that rabbit hole yet. But I'm sure I will soon. Now that, again, I'm having a little bit more playtime. So, again, check them out. I love them. Love them. Love them. All right. So now that I had my snowy background done, what I wanted to do is stamp a few of these cute snowflakes right on this background. So there's two that are kind of smaller and one that's kind of bigger. So I'm going to put the big one on one side of an acrylic block and the smaller ones on another side of an acrylic block, mainly because I was lazy and didn't want to get two blocks out when I was originally doing this. And I am using Cheeky and Blush. These ink pads also stamp beautifully. And I just stamped right over the existing background, just a few. I didn't go crazy, but I just liked layering them. Mixing between the blush and cheeky color. I forgot to wet a stamp chamois. Again, that's like my MO for every live I do. We'll do one more big one in the center. Okay, we are going to also, I already pre-stamped and die cut some of these snowflakes, so we're going to layer those on as well. But again, I just really liked layering the stamps on the already stenciled background. I thought it looked really cute. All right, so let's talk about our slider elements. What I did ahead of time is I took my Stitch Till Side from Lawn Fawn. I keep all of my dies on magnetic boards from Lawn Fawn as well. I've shared this on my Facebook page. There's a whole playlist of how I organize my dies in pockets and in binders. But so I took a Stitch Till Side, and then I also took a puffy cloud border. I love this puffy cloud border, and I actually use it for snow a lot. So just kind of to add some more texture to the card. And then Lawn Fawn has all kinds of slider dies, but I just use this simple little slope here, and this is from the original slider die set. It's called Slide On Over. So nothing, I didn't do any of the fancy ones, mainly due to space on the card because I wanted to have both moose on there. And then what I did is I added the grit paste, and I've already done it to two backgrounds, so we won't have to wait for dry time. So I've already done it, but I wanted to show you how I did it. So what I did is I just took a plastic palette knife. I cannot take credit for the die storage. That was Shari's idea. Well, I'll give us 50-50. It was Shari's idea to put them in the binders, and then I found the plastic pockets because sheet protectors just were not working for me. It was too much work to put them in and out. I wanted something easier. All right, so right on the front of the puffy cloud border, I'm just taking some of this grit paste on the back of my palette knife, and I just start spreading and smooshing it. There's no right or wrong way to doing this. It's snow. It's going to look cute no matter what. It's just a fun way to add some texture to your card. Again, this snowfall texture paste is from the limited edition holiday texture bundle from the Distress line from Tim Holtz. Last I saw, Simon Says Stamp does still have it in stock, but I know a lot of places might still have it, but it is, when it's gone, it's gone. But if you don't have that, you could use this grit paste. The grit paste is just more opaque. and it's whiter. This Snowfall is a bit more translucent. So once I got the grit paste on all the edges, I'm just kind of spreading it down to just kind of try to make it look a little bit more realistic. So you can see it there, right? However your snow's going to look, right? There's no right or wrong way. And then we talk about the slider element. So what I would say wrong on my original card, and it still slides, but you just have to slide it. It doesn't slide with the weight. It kind of does, but it's rough. So what I did wrong is I had too much chunky grit paste behind him and along here. So what I recommend is to avoid the slider element completely so that nothing will get in the way of him having a grand old time. Lesson learned. I was just having fun with the grit paste and, went a little crazy. But again, just stick some grit paste on. I'll put a little bit back here. And then that will be it for here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just set those guys aside to dry. That means I'll be able to make a third moose card. Awesome. But for the sake of live streaming, I already have those elements ready to go and dry. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to add on my puffy cloud border, which is now snow. I just want to figure out what height I want to do that at, right? And I'm just going to use my Lawn Fawn glue tube to do that. You could use a dry dot runner adhesive as well. So the small jar is it's grit paste, but it's Snowfall, and it comes in his Tim Holtz's texture set. And again, if you head over to my website, tashirkus.com, you'll find the blog post for this card, and everything is linked for you. And last I saw, the texture paste is still available. All right. Go buy it. Put it in your own stocking. Done. That's what I say. So now I am going to add this to the background. Right? And we are going to just let that dry. And then we're going to work on our slider element. So when you're working with a slider, it's helpful to have a penny. I posted this on Instagram stories this week when I was making this card. Does anybody else have a bag of pennies in their desk drawer? Oh no, just me? Okay. The penny is going to be the weight to slide your element back and forth. I like to take the penny out right from the beginning because it's going to show me where I can put my foam tape without it getting in the way of the penny. I highly recommend using the 3M foam tape. Even though 3M changed the formula and I don't love the new foam tape, having the 3M foam tape is much easier than dots for this. I'm taking my foam tape, and I know it's really hard to see. Let me hold it up to the camera. Hold on 1 second. So I'm taking my 3M foam tape, and I'm going to take this and fold it in half, essentially. Basically, we're doubling it up so that it will be a double thickness. Okay, so I just took it and folded it in half, and then we'll just cut this off the roll. And now we have this piece that is double thick. Okay, so that's how we do that. Look at me switching the camera angles in the middle of teaching. So proud of myself. once I have this folded in half, I have a really wide foam tape right now. So I'm just going to trim it down the center to make it thinner. Not thinner in height, but thinner in width. Okay. So now I have the 2 strips. And again, I'm going to keep my penny over the slider and keep an eye on where that penny needs to go, so I don't put any foam tape where it's going to get in the way of the penny. Yeah, no, 3M right before the pandemic changed their formula of foam tape, and unfortunately it's so uber sticky now. Sharna, you've been in classes with me before where I teach you to do fringe cutting and all of that. It's almost impossible to do that now. Although my friend Nina Marie, who designs for Simon, she posted a video that if you put your 3M foam tape onto freezer paper, you're able to cut it much easier. So definitely look for her video on that. But yeah, it sucks. Broke my little 3M foam tape love and heart. And then the pandemic happened and I kind of got over it. But I remember I was actually in Minnesota in February, and that's where the home of 3M is. And I was talking to everybody in my classes because I actually had a contact of somebody at 3M. And I was like, we need to all email them. Like, not mean, but just be like, we're crafters and we don't like this formula, but we use your tape all the time. So can you please do a craft version for us or something? I mean, they put it in a packaging that says for craft supplies and then charges way more money for it. So why not make us our own formula? But then, that was the end of February, and then I came home and the pandemic happened. So I kind of forgot about it. All right. So I am filling my hillside with this doubled up foam tape. So it's nice and sturdy, okay, but plenty of room for my penny to still move. So you don't want any at the top of this hillside, okay, because then your penny would not be able to move, okay. And so the other thing that we're going to do is add some foam tape to the penny. But I just remembered we got to glitter our moose before we put him on the penny. Hopefully there'll be no glitter catastrophes. Can you guys, those of you that saw my glitter catastrophe from earlier this week, can you imagine if that had happened during a live? Oh, I just had to laugh at myself. You just gotta laugh. So I just glittered the collar of his jacket. So I'm using my beloved Sakura Quickie glue pen, the best glue pen on the planet, filling in his collar and dipping it into Lawn Fawn Prismaglitter. I highly recommend having a bucket that's larger so that you have some room to work in and dip in. And there's our little sparkle on him. And then on the standing guy, we're going to do his collar and the white stripes on the snowboard. The other thing that's weird for me with this multi-videoing on all the channels is I can't see how many of you guys are with me. So that's kind of a bummer. All right, so you got to have a little sparkle there, right? And that was all I did for sparkle. We're going to sparkle snowflakes later, but pretty proud of myself. I contained myself. I'm trying to remember if this was during the glitter catastrophe or I don't remember. But anyways, okay. So now we're back to our slider mechanism. And what we're going to do is take a piece of this doubled up foam tape. I'm going to actually cut it in half again. And we want to have a little sliver. So you guys can see my piece here. We want to have a little sliver because it needs to have wiggle room. Okay? So putting it on the other side, it needs to be able to wiggle between the slider track. So for those of you guys that love to measure, the slider track is 1/4 of an inch wide. So the foam tape needs to be less than 1/4 of an inch. Okay? And so what I like to do is put my penny behind here, peel off one side and stick it through the front of the track onto the penny. Which, total side note, I did Villainous Potion purple nails today. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? It's one of the new Olive and June winter collection colors, and it legit looks like Villainous Potion Distress ink. And they came out like right at the same time. So I'm pretty sure Tim Holtz is now influencing the beauty community. All right, so then what I'm going to do is peel this piece off. So it's sticking through to the front. And we are going to put our mousse on here. But wait, I got to stamp my sentiment. And I already put all this foam tape on. This is going to be a catastrophe. I can already tell. I was getting ahead of myself, you guys. It happens. It happens. All right, so normally I would stamp the sentiment with an acrylic block, but because I have all this foam tape already on here, we are going to try to do it in the MISTI. Just take this foam out because we don't need that. I even said in my head a while ago, don't forget the sentiment, Jen. Thanks, guys. We'll see. We'll see how this comes out. If I mess it up, I'll think of something, probably after the live, to fix it. Let's see. It's a little smooshy from the bouncing, but what I'll do is add glitter to it, and all will be well with the world. All right, back to adding. Let's add a little. So see how, because it was bouncing up, my letters are a little smooshy. That's a technical term too. They're a little smushed, I guess is the better way of saying it. So what I'm going to do is just add some glitter. And then you won't be able to tell. Hello from Michigan. I can't see names if you're commenting on Facebook. Sorry. We're going to figure that out for next time. So I am just taking the Quickie glue pen and tracing the sentiment, the whole thing. And we'll just put a little sparkle on it. And nobody will ever know except for you guys that are watching this video with me. All right. And because this already has foam on it and everything, I'll use the cap on the back of my glitter Quickie glue pen, like a scoop. Bring the glitter up to the item and then tap it off. I wouldn't dunk it in. But look how cute. You would never know. It was a little off. Glitter fixes all the things. So Danielle says she's having her own catastrophe right now. Stamping a scene with masks and everything in Lawn Fawn River Rock. And for the last stamp, I accidentally grabbed my black Versamark. Oops. Well, Danielle, you can color that image in and then maybe trace the whole image and glitter it. Glitter fixes everything, and it will dull the color of the black, and it will make it look like that's the focal image. Just a thought. All right, so we're back to this where we have the penny. This is the back. We have the penny against the front with a piece of foam, and I'm going to stick my mousse to that. Oh yeah, I can already tell he's going to slide so much better than my original. I will still send that original to somebody because it's all good, you guys. But I was so bummed. I was like, oh, I went a little too crazy with the grit paste. Hello, those of you guys that are joining. I can't see names if you're commenting from Facebook, so you can post your name if you would like. This is all new. I'm streaming on YouTube, my Facebook page, and my Facebook group at the same time. So this is a new thing I tried tonight, and lesson learned. I got to figure out how I can see people's names. Look how cute, you guys. Oh, so he's still going to stick. You know what? He is, but you know what I'm going to do? I am going to put more foam tape. He is just touching that paper with the grit paste. So I'm going to peel him off of the foam. We're doing some surgery, guys, which this 3M foam tape is not forgiving at all. Okay, ripped it a little, but not bad. We're going to put another double stack. Got to be careful if you are doing surgery like this because the penny will get lost behind your card. Push that on there really good. So basically I have four pieces of foam tape off the penny right now. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. He just needed to be up and off that grit paste. So cute. Right? Love it. So now what we're going to do is add our mousse over here because I just loved both of them so much. I couldn't not use them. Because the hill is popped up, I'm going to pop up his head area with this same doubled up foam tape. So it's the same height. So he won't get bent like in the mail. Yes, I think I do have undo somewhere in this craft room. But I just am impatient on finding things sometimes. So there's that. So I'm just reinforcing behind his head and his arms, since that is the part that's going to be off the hillside. And then I'll put glue tube behind his legs to stick him to the hillside. Thank you so much, Marianne. I appreciate it. Thanks for popping on. So a little glue tube behind his legs and his feet. And then we're going to put him over here on the right. And I'm just holding it a minute because that grit paste is under there. And I want to make sure that the glue tube sticks to that really well because it is textured. And then what we're going to do, you guys, is add some snowflakes popped up on the background here. And we're going to add a little grit paste at the feet of this, at the feet of this mousse here. And then we're almost done. We're in the final stretch. So I already stamped and die cut these little snowflakes. And because I figured we already did a little die cutting tonight, I didn't think you needed to watch me do all the die cutting. But little pieces like this work so well in using that smaller Altenew Blossom machine. Just getting these all flipped over. Thank you, Paula. Hey, there's always a fix. Always a fix in card making. Very rarely do I have to junk something completely. But it's also good to remember, you guys, it is just paper. Yes, it's your time, but sometimes mistakes happen and sometimes you do have to toss it, right? All right, so I'm going to stick these little guys on here, and because they are so little, I'm sticking them on first, and then we're going to add glitter to them after. That's how that's going to go. Again, this would be a perfect winter birthday card or, you know, winter greeting if you're all caught up on your holiday cards. I like to have cards that are multi-purpose too, because in your stash, because then you'll just be like, oh, I really wish I had. And then you have it. I don't think I'm going to do all of these big ones. Yeah, I'm not going to use that one. All right, so then we're going to do some glitter. Again, I'm going to use kind of that scoop method with the glue pen so that I'm not trying to dunk this whole card into the glitter. That would become messy really, really fast. And you can see how quick I'm going. I'm just tracing some of the lines of the snowflakes. Some of them. You don't need to trace every single detail since it's Prisma glitter and it's going to be iridescent and adorable no matter what. You don't have to worry about staying in the lines, filling it in completely, tracing every bit. I just quickly traced some of them, sprinkling some glitter on each of them, and then tapped off. So quick, quick, quick. But just that added sparkle looks so cute, and he's sliding. Yay. That makes me happy. All right, and then the last two things we are going to do is just some finishing touches. I love little details. And one thing we're going to do, I'm just going to use some glossy accents, and I'm going to add it to their goggles. This is just going to make them look more realistic. Glossy accents will pretty much stay where you draw it on unless you're going really heavy with it. And if I do ever want glossy accents to be really thick, I do one layer, let it dry, and then build up to another layer. So, and then I'm going to add a little bit more of this Snowfall grit paste to this little moose's feet, because he's down here standing in the snow, right? Because why not is the real question. Add a little bit more texture. And that is it. I'm going to be careful because of that glossy accents, but look how fun. Ah, I love it. So this is a Newton's Nook stamp set. The snowflakes and the two moose and the sentiment all came from it. Moose Mountain. It's all linked on my website. It was all still in stock when I posted this yesterday. And yeah, so cute. I love it, you guys. So we are going to be back December 16th for the next Let's Get Crackin' on Christmas. As always, you guys, I appreciate you joining me tonight, hanging out with me. I hope you worked on some of your holiday cards. It's totally okay if you didn't, but I hope that you did. And one second, I was just seeing a question. Sharna said, can you pop him off of and add an extra layer of foam on the slider? Oh, I kind of understand what you mean, Sharna, but I missed it when I was doing it, so I'm confused. But I bought the texture product and then some. Thank you. Well, you've officially been Janabled then. But anyway, so this was Get Crackin' on Christmas, you guys. I do this every third Thursday of the month. I post a holiday card. And then I have some crafty friends that post on the same day as me, Sharna being one of them. And I will definitely be doing this in 2022. Oh, can't believe it. So definitely follow along. I know we're getting kind of into that crunch time. Thanksgiving is next weekend, and then before you know it, it'll be Christmas. But this is something that I do monthly, and it really is so enjoyable. It's so much more fun to create your holiday cards when you're not stressing. I love it. Somebody just posted, I got a snowman colored. Oh, I'm laughing with you, but I mean that in the nicest of ways. Hey, you got a snowman colored. You wouldn't have had that snowman colored if you didn't join me tonight. So thank you guys so much. And remember, if you aren't watching this on YouTube, I would love for you guys to head over to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and watch a video or two. I'm trying to get those hours up over there so I can head to the next level of YouTube land, and I would really appreciate the support. Thank you, and I will have a fun traditional holiday card on my website tomorrow with new Colorado Craft Company products. So definitely check that out. Have a great night, guys, and I'll see some of you in